And I know whatever you do, you take it to the top. I've had kidnapped in India.
Check for $1,006. That $1,000 a week meant more to me than my first million. So 75 plus countries. I've been to more than that, but it's just been a beautiful blessing in my life. Man, it's just I did something every single day for 6 years, right? I think the only legacy you really have is your relationships with other people. And so he taught us as young children that we could do anything we wanted. And I'll forever be grateful for that. And it's the wealth of connecting to humanity and to people you love. I haven't looked at my downline in over 20 years. I don't even look at it.
He's the legend in the industry of direct sales or network marketing. Welcome to the show, my friend, King Porter from San Diego. Here from my house in Las Vegas. Welcome to one more show of Edgardo Valdivieso's show. And remember to subscribe because this channel is growing every single day. And every single episode, we have a special speaker, a special person that you want to get to know their story. And today, wow, we have one of my friends. He's a legend in the industry of direct sales or network marketing. Welcome to the show, my friend, King Porter from San Diego, Utah. How you doing, my friend?
I'm so glad to be here, Edgardo. It's like you've been my friend for a long time, so it's an honor to appear with you on your show.
Ken, it's an honor to have you because you're a legend. And people, I know your story is going to inspire so many people around the world. So welcome to the show. So for all those people that are, watching my channel, my show, and they don't know who Ken Porter is, can you just tell us a little bit who you are? Tell us a little bit about Ken Porter.
Oh my gosh. Well, you know what? I'm like the most blessed human being you've ever met in your life because, I grew up one of 11 children in a family. We grew up on a farm. And look, my dad didn't have the farm to make money. My dad had the farm so that the kids could learn how to work, right? So we got like dirt in our fingernails and we just really had a great childhood growing up. I'll tell you what I had. I had a dad who taught us how to be entrepreneurs. And he taught us how to go out there and take our ideas and our concepts and our belief, and he taught us to believe in ourselves. So he taught us as young children that we could do anything we wanted. And I'll forever be grateful for that because I've got out in the world and found out, a lot of people don't believe in themselves, right? A lot of people just kind of fearful and they don't know what to do. And my dad taught me that, look, we're all God's children. We can be bold and we can be strong and we can go out there and make a difference in the world and support our family. So I think more than anything, my childhood is a great place to grow up and learn that you can do anything.
Wow. And this was in Idaho, if I'm not mistaken, Ken.
So I grew up in a little small town in Idaho, by the way. I don't know if you ever saw the show Napoleon Dynamite, but if you saw that show, that was like a documentary to me. That was like I really did grow up in that place. And so, yeah, it's a great place to grow up, great kids. Yeah, it's just a great place to grow up.
Wow. My parents had a farm and cows and chicken and all kind of animals. Okay. So I relate to that. And you said 11 altogether, okay, brothers and sisters. If I'm not mistaken, 5 brothers and 6 sisters, right?
That's correct, my friend. That's correct.
My parents, we have 9 sisters and 5 brothers. Very, so I can relate to a big family.
Oh, I love a big family. It's such a blessing. It's funny you have that many. They're all different too. Like all different personalities, all have different occupations, all have different things in life. And one thing I know that we have in common, though, is the kids love each other. We learn to love other people. And growing up in an environment like that, you learn how to cooperate with others and get along with others, right? because, it's like little kids like to fight and do battle, and you kind of learn to figure out how to relate and how to communicate with each other and how to just get along with people, right? And I think that's a great thing to learn from a big family.
Wow, wow. So I relate that because, like I said, my parents, we grew up pretty much, my sister and brothers, in the farm too. So I can relate to that. That's great, great, great. So can tell us, I mean, do you go to school or do the university? What's your profession?
Here's the thing. I did go to school. I went to high school. Of course, I went to college. I went to like 6 years of college and never got a degree. So I don't have a college degree, but I didn't care about a college degree because what I care about is not a degree on the wall, but what I care about is knowledge. And so some people go to college and that's the end of their knowledge. And for me, I like to say, listen, I'm a lifetime learner. Everybody should learn throughout their lifetime, right? That's something you never stop doing. And so, for me, I don't talk about a degree, but I talk about a lifetime of knowledge and learning and growth in a variety of subjects. But, the thing I like about, I feel blessed about in my life is that I find that you can do anything you want to do. That's the one thing I found early is like, hey, just pick a project and just start walking one foot in front of the next. And pretty soon you find success. You just keep doing it over and over. And those little habits, they show up and turn into something valuable long term. So it's been a great life for me so far. A lot of lessons.
So no degree, and on your own opinion, Ken, I mean, do you need to have a degree to become successful in life?
No. That's false. Some people think you got to have a degree, you have to go to school to be successful, but that's just not true. It's not a measure of who you are. Anybody can have success. I don't care if you didn't graduate from high school. Anybody can have success. And success is just really it's not that hard. It's just like find something, find a project, and become an expert. And the way you become an expert is you do over and over and over. And, your failures teach you how to do it better next time. So what always looks like a failure never actually is. It's knowledge. And if you keep gaining knowledge with every time you think you fail, well, it's impossible to not move forward if you think about that, right? Really, that's what life's all about. It's like, you step forward, you learn a little bit. You step forward, you learn a little bit. And pretty soon those things add up into something.
Yeah. So Ken, when you went to school, do you ever have a job? Like a regular job at McDonald's?
I'm not a guy that's had many regular jobs in my life. When I went to school, after that, I basically just sold cars out of school. And then I went and did summer door-to-door knocking. I did that for almost 2.5, 3 years, just knocking doors, selling stuff door to door, right? I learned how to handle a lot of rejection from that. And then I became a stockbroker, and I did that for a number of years as a stockbroker. But, it was a great living. It was all fantastic. But one day a friend came to me and a time of my greatest needs and says, hey, I want to show you about this leveraged business. I'm like, what's a leveraged business? I didn't really understand that concept of leverage, right? And so he showed me this network marketing. And ever since he showed me that, at first I was skeptical. But then I learned and I wasn't skeptical anymore. And once I had the concept of leverage down, I could never work a job ever again. I could never spend an hour to get paid for 1 hour for the rest of my life because I had learned the concept of, look, there's only a few ways to achieve any degree of wealth, right? And you've got to they're all around leverage. You can start a business and you got 1,000 employees. Now you have leverage, right? Because even if I don't go to work, my employees are going to work. So you got leverage doing that. If you're not going to do that, you can be a singer, a songwriter and record a song and sell out 1 million times. Now you got leverage. But most people never get leverage in their life. And so because of that, they're just as poor when they're 50 and 60 and 70 as when they were 20 and 30. So really the key to getting ahead in life is leverage. You got to understand the principle of leverage. And there's a few ways to do it. And so, when he introduced me to network marketing and really taught me the concept of leverage, that's when my whole financial life took a complete different direction. And it's just been incredible ever since.
So what company was that, Ken?
So the very, very first company he introduced me to was a company called New Skin. But I'll tell you what I did. I joined New Skin. And about 2 weeks later, I went to their convention, and there must have been 10 or 15,000 cheering people at that convention from all over the world. So I remember what my dad was always a businessman. He always taught us to look, the wealth creation comes from growing something from small to big. So just like today, if you join a big company, like if you go buy stock in Google or Apple or any of those big companies, the major growth that made people wealthy already happened. And so to really get growth, you need to be a part of something in an early stage and grow it and grow with the company. So 1 week later, I stopped building New Skin. As soon as I saw them, and then they're already huge. I was aware enough to say, don't stay here and try to build when everybody is already here, right? So I went looking for a new company, and I found one shortly thereafter.
What company was that?
So I found a company. I was introduced to a company called USANA. Now, when USANA is now $1 billion company, but when the person told me about it, I was one of the first 5 people meeting in the basement, talking about branding and what it could be like eventually, right? I was really early in that process. So I was there before before they even had the labels on bottles and early on. So when I went out and started talking to people, they'd never heard of it. And that was a great thing, right? So I got to take that thing as a little baby and just struggle forward until all of a sudden it started becoming a name that everybody knew, right? And so that process of building something from scratch, from bottom to tall, that's been over 30 years ago. And that little team I started then has grown to be, I don't know, must have been millions. I don't know how many, but that I've continued. I built that for 6 years and then I stopped working. And they have paid me for over 30 years direct deposit in my bank account every single week for 30 years.
So you've been getting residual income from USANA for 30 years.
For 30 years, over and over. I've never had to start at zero any month. I spent those first years working really hard. And remember, I was nothing special. I started from scratch. I didn't know what I was doing. My best friends all told me no. My brothers and sisters, I thought, man, I got a great team already because all these brothers and sisters, every one of them told me no. I didn't know how to do it. It really is not a matter of being good. It's just a matter of doing something over and over and over because, eventually you learn from all those people that say no. So I just kept doing it. And yes, I worked hard for 6 years and it's paid me for over 30 years. It's the most incredible thing.
So tell me, Ken, how long it took you to make your first $1 million? Because that's the big goal to any networker.
Yes, it is. But let me tell you something. When I started, my goal wasn't to make $1 million. When I started, I was broke. I didn't have any money. I could barely even afford to sign up, right? I had not had a raging success, So when I started, my goal was different. My goal was to make $1,000 in 1 week. That was this 30 years ago. That was my goal. And so I worked so hard. In my first month, I made almost nothing. In my second month, I made almost nothing. And my third month, I made almost nothing. In my fourth month, they had a convention and I was able to walk across the stage and they showed me as one of the top income earners. And I'd only earned $200.
Oh, wow.
And I was one of the top income earners at that stage. So, most people that I invited with me, they all quit because it wasn't easy. They just wanted something easy. But it's, people looking for something easy never get anything because there's no such thing, right? And so I remember back in the day, remember this is before direct deposit. So every week I went to my mailbox to pull out, look for the check. And so on my 11th month, the third week of the 11th month, I went to my mailbox and I opened up the mail, and there's a check for $1,006. Edgardo, you know what happened? I carried that check into my wife, and we both looked at it, and we both cried.
Oh, wow.
We cried like little babies because we'd worked so hard for a little bit, but the reason we cried is because we're going, wow, for the first time in my life, I had a project, I didn't quit, and I didn't quit. Nobody around me believed we could do it, and we just worked hard. And so when I achieved that goal of $1,000 a week, it was life-changing because it taught me that I could focus and I could win. And you know what? That $1,000 a week meant more to me than my first million. That $1,000 a week is what set the stage for my entire career. And what set the stage for that $1,000 a week was my first month when I kept talking to people, even though people are saying no. So the habits I created my first month has led to millions and millions and millions. And I couldn't see it at the time. But now I look back in hindsight, and it's just a simple little things done over and over. By that time, kind of a young kid, I didn't have contacts. I didn't have relationships. I didn't have a super education. I had nothing, but I wanted so bad not to be poor. I wanted it so bad. It's all I could think about. And that's really what drove it, is strong desire.
So can take us from the $1,006. I mean, what about the following month? How did that go?
So, first it went to $1,000, right? That was really hard. The first 1,000 was really hard. It took me a year. And then the next year, it was like 3,000. And then the next year, this is weekly system. Then the next year it's like 5,000 or 6,000. And then the next year it's like 7,000 it just keeps growing from there, right? Once you set a foundation, then you just build on top of that foundation. And, from that to like my future projects and all the things I've done, that $1,000 has turned into a lot of money, and it was those simple things.
Yeah. Take us back from the $1,006. What happened next? I mean, I'm pretty sure that keep going up and up and up. And your team was growing, right? At the same time. The check was growing, the team was growing.
Yeah. So, it's a beautiful business because here's what happens. The problem with people getting ahead in life is, when they begin, the only thing you have to start is your time. Right? Most people don't have a lot of money to start with. They don't have any way to get, the only thing you have is your time. And so when I started just investing all of my time in building that business, right? Well, pretty soon the business is throwing off cash. And so what happens when it starts throwing off cash? Now you can use your cash to start making investments and other things. So now you're both letting your time work and give you leverage, and your money's starting to give you leverage. And so at that point, I'm saying, wow, I have this incredible business that's throwing off cash all the time. And I've got extra cash, so I can take that cash and invest, right? So I continued to build USANA for some time. And I decided, I love that company. And I still love that company. They're good people, great products. And I told them, look, I love that building from scratch. And I love that concept. So I told them, I says, look, I'm going to honor my policies with USANA. I will never recruit anybody away from USANA. I will never disparage it. I will never take my people. And, I've honored that for 30 years. I've never recruited anybody out of USANA. But at the same time, I told USANA, look, I'm going to go build a secondary residual income. And so I started building with a company called Monavi.
But before we get to Monavi in USANA, how long do you build the business that you were like every single day?
I built a
like
hard
every single day doing Zooms,
Yeah.
calling people. For those people that are watching and saying, well, Ken, tell me a little bit the secret to build the business. And how big is the business right now? I'm talking about how many members do you have under you on your team?
So here's my thing about that. You know, I worked it really hard for 6 years. I mean, really hard. I mean, there was not a day during that time when I didn't contact somebody. I mean, I didn't let a day go by where I wasn't setting an appointment, making a phone call. You know, I'm not Superman. It's just I did something every single day for 6 years, right? And I worked it like it was a job. I worked it like it was important. A lot of people sign up for these. They don't take it serious. They talk to one person a month or one person every 2 months. And, you know, it never turns into anything. You got to treat it like a real business, right? So every single day, man, sometimes it was hard to find new people to talk to, right? But I did all kinds of things to find new people to talk to. You know, I test drove cars sometimes every day just so I could meet a sales guy and talk about USANA. I did all kinds of crazy things to meet people. That was before social media, right? But really, the only important thing is that you're making a presentation every day. Every day I'm telling somebody about USANA, and every day I tell them about the opportunity. And I did that for 6 years. And then at 6 years, I stopped doing that with USANA, and I started doing that with something else.
So how big do you think is your team right there in USANA? I mean, right now.
How many? Say that again?
How big do you think your team is in USANA?
In my distributors and my organization?
Yes.
You know what? I have not even looked.
But just give an idea so people can have an idea.
Oh, many. Over, you know, 100,000, million, hundreds of thousands. I mean, I haven't looked at my downline in over 20 years. I don't even look at it. I mean, I don't even go into my back office. I don't even know how to log into my back office anymore.
So they just pay a direct deposit every
They just say direct deposits, direct deposit.
Isn't that beautiful, Ken? Isn't that a beautiful business?
It's look, the business, my business has grown to be all over the globe. I didn't take it every country around the globe, but my business is in probably 75 countries. It's all over the globe. And it's a beautiful business. And USANA is a great, honorable company. And I love everything about them. And, you know, they allowed me the freedom to say, look, I'm going to go build a second residual income.
Tell us about that experience.
Yeah. So, you know, between USANA and my second residual income, I still went out there and I started investing in all kinds of things, you know, properties, assisted living, other businesses. And so it gave me real time to focus on investments. And a few years after that, I says, look, I'm going to go build another company. So same thing. I joined Monavie in the really early stages of Monavie and built that, you know, for probably about 7, 8 years. And it was an incredible experience. It was just incredible. I mean, you know, I think between all my networking experiences, you know, I got my income up to like, you know, $500,000-$600,000 a month, all just by talking to people every day. Nothing special. I mean, honestly, anybody can do what I did. Anybody can do what I did. It's most people just don't know, right? They're just going to their job every day. They're not, but you know, it's really about finding a great product and then just sharing it over and over. And a little bit with some urgency because I'm not a slow sharer. When I find something I'm excited about, man, I dive into that.
Ken, in Monavie, I know you have leaders direct to you, okay, personal to you, that they were getting bonuses of $1 million in cash. Remember? In events, live events.
You do. I definitely remember that.
Matter of fact, I believe, you can correct me, that it was more than one time the same person getting multiple $1 million in a briefcase, like a movie.
It's crazy because, people see that and they think, oh, I could never do that. And what I found is, yes, you could. You could do that. I mean, I just, they only saw the Ken Porter that's accepting the cash, right? And the checks, but they didn't really see where that started. It started as like a young kind of scared guy that, many years earlier was afraid to talk to people, but I went out and I did it anyway. I overcome my basic fears because my desire to not be poor was greater than my fear. And so, yes, you did the same thing over and over. And years later, it turns into something incredible that you could never believe, right? Like $1 million cash and big checks and things like that. But, the thing about that is it's a funny business because, a lot of people look at this business like you got to be lucky. And, I don't see it as luck. I mean, I just see it as everybody that sticks to it long enough and does the work, they find the success. The problem you have in this business is it's so easy to join. I sometimes talk to people that say, yeah, I've been a part of 20 companies. I'm going, what in the world? Why would you do that? Find a company or two, find a company, build it. And then if you want to do something else, find another company and build it. But focus. And anybody can build this business if they do that. And that's really my message over all these years is, Ken Porter's nothing special. I mean, my pants come on just like you. When I started this business, I was afraid to talk to anybody. I hated rejection. When somebody said no, it kind of hurt me. I was afraid of people telling me no, even before I asked them. And so, look, I understand why it's, I understand that those are natural human emotions. And it's easy when your desire is big enough just to overcome that and realize, hey, we're doing people a service. We're not really bugging people, right? So my over these years is, look, what is Ken Porter's job? I teach people how to achieve wealth, right? I teach people how to get leverage. Nobody should hide from that because every single person needs that in their life.
Ken, what was your biggest challenge or in direct sales in your career of network marketing?
The biggest challenge?
Yeah.
Look, the biggest challenge of all is always the same place. It's what's between my ears. It's my thinking. And it's my fear. And it's, my disbelief, because I don't know, naturally, most of us are kind of afraid. Right? We don't really think we can do it. And every day I had to cope with that and say, okay, you can do it. You can do it. You can do this. And so it's getting myself to believe was the biggest challenge of our, and honestly, there is no other challenge really other than that. Because if you can train yourself to have that kind of confidence to go out and overcome your self-doubt, it doesn't matter if you're rich or poor, you're always going to end up, successful.
I have so much respect for you, Ken, for your success and the person that you always been, the same person. No matter how many millions you make, how many, your success, you always been the same person, nice to everyone. And another thing is, I see you travel with your, one of your daughters. How many kids do you have, Ken?
I have 7 children.
7. Are they involved in the business?
Well, it's like my oldest one is about 35 and my very youngest one is 18. And so my very youngest one is still at home. She's a senior in high school. And so I'll be an empty nester before long. And I'm not really happy about that. I wish I had 20 kids.
Oh, wow. And I see you traveling, I believe is with your daughter that is 18 and your wife, and you go for like a 30-day tour. How many countries have you visited? You built and helped the team.
Here's the thing about this, all of my kids have traveled with me as I went around the world and worked. They've all traveled with me. So, it's like all of my kids have been to 30 plus countries or 40 countries. They've all traveled the whole world. They've seen country after country. The thing I love about that more than anything else is, I think it's Mark Twain that said something, nothing destroys bigotry more than travel. Because when you travel, then it gets you out of your bubble, right? I grew up on a little farm. And so, when I was little, I thought everybody was just like that, right? But pretty soon when you travel, you start finding that people are very different around the world, but at their core, they're all the same. And so when you travel, you start realizing that people in different cultures and different races and different religions are all people that you can love. They're all essentially people who want the same thing as you. They have the same struggles as you. They have the same desires as you. And what you really find is that, that kind of travel means that you connect deeply with people all over the world. So, I love that my children have been able to have a much broader worldview. And I watch them now love people of all races and all religions and all countries. And, I think it makes it feel like the whole world is your family, not just your family, because you've met a lot of your brothers and sisters that grew up in other countries, right? That's kind of what happens. So 75 plus countries. I've been to more than that, but it's just been a beautiful blessing in my life.
Wow. Tell us a story about any of those countries. Do you have some stories that you want to share here on the show?
Oh, I've got you. You don't want me to tell all my stories.
Yeah,
man.
have you been in South America? I seen you in Ecuador. I believe I seen you in Ecuador. I don't know what other country you've been in Latin America.
Well, I won't tell you the story of getting kidnapped in India, but I did get kidnapped in India. That's a whole story by itself. But it had a good ending, so that was all great. I've got
kidnapped in India.
I got kidnapped in India. Yeah.
Oh wow.
So here's what happened. Yeah, I was over doing a meeting in India, and I had maybe 1,000 people in the room, and I had an Indian guide that, I was paying to take me around and show me. And I saw when I was doing the meeting, I was speaking to the audience, and I saw him in the back corner of the room, with some guys that I didn't recognize, that were, they're full, they had the headbands and most of their faces, everything was covered. And I saw him going like this in the back room, talking to them kind of quietly. I thought, that's strange. Well, after the meeting, he came up and he says, "Hey, Mr. Porter, these guys are going to take you to your hotel, not me. They're going to take you to your hotel." And I said, "All right, whatever." So I jump in their car, and they're three very large guys, right? They didn't speak any English at all. And this was about 10 o'clock at night. And so I jump in their car, and they start driving. And after about 40 minutes, I'm like, wait, this isn't anywhere near my hotel. And they kept driving and kept driving. 3 hours they drove with me, and they didn't speak English. They didn't talk to me. I tried to speak English. They just kept looking straight ahead, talking to each other. And after 3 hours, by this time, it's like almost 2 a.m. And I don't know who these guys even are. I'd never seen them. And so they take me and drive. And finally, we're going down dirt roads and all over the place. And finally, they come to this big compound that's gated. And they open up the compound and they park the car. And I'm like, oh my gosh, where is this? And so they open the front door and they walk in. As soon as I walk in, the full table is set with probably 20 people around it, with like the most incredible meal ever. And around the table with some people that spoke English. As soon as I walked in, they all stood up and started cheering. He says, "Welcome, Mr. Porter. Welcome, Mr. Porter. Welcome, Mr. Porter." And I'm like, what? And they're like, "We want to do business with you, but they don't speak English, so they wanted you to bring it." So they didn't ask me. They just took me. And so I had a big meeting there, and, the craziest thing you ever saw in your life. And then eventually, at 3 a.m, they drove me back to my hotel and dropped me off.
Oh, wow. So you were scared driving. You're like, I don't know what's going on.
I didn't know what's going on at all. It was crazy. But, looking backwards, it was a great experience.
Any other stories about any other country?
Yeah, well, they hauled me from, it was right up almost to the Pakistan border. So it was a long ways from where we're at. But, listen, I've traveled the world. I've got 1,000 stories. And most of my stories are about incredibly good people and people that have become family to me. And that's the story I have about this business is, look, it's not just that it can create financial wealth, but it can do that, but it creates a wealth greater than that. And it's the wealth of connecting to humanity and to people you love. Like Edgardo, our relationship, I would have never met you if it wasn't for this business. And man, you're a guy that I love and respect. And I just love knowing you. And I love every once in a while connecting, see our families going up. It's, whenever we connect, it's like a little family reunion. And here we are. And 100%. So to me, that's the part that nobody told me when I started this business, and I wouldn't have understood it anyway, because the only thing I would have understood is money and free time. But I didn't see all the other benefits.
I mean, the relationship, the people you get to know around the world, I mean, it's amazing. It's a blessing.
It's a blessing.
You're 100%.
It's a blessing.
I mean, what has been the country that you're like, wow, that you pretty much, you're like, man, I would love to be going every single time. Any special countries?
So many countries. I mean, the thing is, I said 75 countries, but some of those countries I've been to 20 times, right? In building and helping your team. And so, virtually every country throughout Asia, obviously every country throughout the whole of North America, almost every country in South America, most countries in Europe. And I just learned, I love every one of them. I've got great memories in all of them. And the food, oh my goodness.
What about food? No challenges. I mean, the different kind of food, because I did, me going to some countries, like, because some countries, they eat their own, like South Korea, for example. Okay. I used to go to South Korea every single year, like 2000, 2002, 2003, every single year. And then I said, man, I want some Kentucky Fried Chicken. You know what? Because every single day it seems like same food.
Well, you just described our business perfectly right there. That's exactly what it looks like in my experience, right? And it's, as you go to those countries over and over and over and over, they're no longer like foreign countries. It's almost like they're your adopted homeland, right? And so even though I go to a lot of these countries and I look different, but, I go to Japan, I feel like that's home. I go to Korea, I feel like that's home. I go to India, I feel like that's home. I go to Mexico, and so much I feel like that's home. And so it's almost like you're adopted in all those countries by so many friends, and it's a great business. And I love the idea that, when I'm sleeping, there's other people in my team working. And so you're earning money when you're sleeping. And
24/7.
Pretty, when you start this business, about every single sale and every person that's recruited. But eventually there's so much you don't even know about the sales. You don't know where they come from. You don't know where it just turns into, something different. Right. And so it's a great business. It's just a great business. I always feel like, I always feel like if people knew what I knew, they would do what I do. It's a great business. So
it pays off. Yeah, big time.
Yeah.
So Ken, tell us what's next for Ken Porter, because I know you're excited about, a project that is mobile, digital, that you say, you know what, I'm going to take this to 100+ countries, because you have so many connections all over the world.
Yeah.
And you just mentioned this a few days ago and say, you know what, this opportunity have not started yet until April. It's going to officially open. And you're like, I want to be one of the first ones, because I know the benefit to be at the beginning and the benefit to have something mobile that I can just call anyone in India, South Korea, Asia, all over the place. I mean, what gets you going motivated? Because you don't need money, Ken. I mean, you're pretty much set for life. But
You know,
what gets you going, and what's next for you?
I have big goals. Look, I'm never retiring. I do this because I love it and it's fun. And nobody ever had a bank account that won't hold more money. So I'll tell you what, it's really fun. So for me, I've been doing this for a long time and I've watched the world change. You know, it used to be that physical products were hard to create. You know, back in the day, it was hard to create. Today, physical products are everywhere. And so I really find myself in a passionate place where my passion is not to build physical products anymore because you can't hold the space very long. Somebody else creates another. You're always trying to, people say, can I try it? Oh, change that ingredient. And then you want to grow it around the world. And every country says you got to do different labels. You got to do different ingredients. So the challenge, even though I built significant global product companies, the real world is changing. And so my next venture, I've learned a lot of things along this pathway. Simple is sophisticated. The simpler something is, the faster it grows. You know, there's no friction in simple. And so for me, I am really excited about, you know, there's basically a new company it's an old company that's relaunching all of their products. You know, there's a company called, you know, Talk Fusion has done nearly $4 billion in revenue since 2007. They got brand new products, brand new app. Everything's like been recreated, and they're going to start that company from scratch in April. So what I'm doing between now and April is I know real wealth that can be created by putting together a great team in a short amount of time in a pre-launch phase. Remember what I talked about being early in these companies? I got amazing traction from being early in USANA, amazing traction from being early in Monavie. And here's the thing. There's so many new companies, you know, 90% of them fail. So the thing I've learned over my time is I've been very fortunate, you know, in my early companies. But the thing I've learned over time is that execution is hard and idea is simple. So what I like about this is a company they're very tech centric. They've been doing this in 2007. They've already done a global business. So it's like a brand new opportunity with a company that's seriously entrenched and is serious in execution, has serious money behind them. So there's a new digital opportunity. You can take this 150 countries the first month. There's no shipping. You don't have to worry about logistics globally. They don't have to open this market and worry about a warehouse and getting new products in the warehouse and shipping and make sure it's just simple. And so, you know, they have a technology that when I first heard about it, I'm like, that's it? You know, because they have a video email technology. You think about us right now. This is true. We have TikTok, we have social media, but here's the thing. People communicate in all of the channels, right? They communicate in social media. They communicate in Messenger. They communicate on Instagram and TikTok, but they also communicate on email. And when you think of social media, they have all gone to short form video, right? That's what they do. Well, tell me who owns the short form video marketplace in email? Nobody. Talk Fusion has a product that can go around the world that can own that short form video format in email, and you and I can monetize that and make a fortune. Now you can also use it in social media. You can use it over the place. But my point is, this is incredible because when you have a product that people use, your realtor should use it. You know, your people that take care of your yard should use it. Anybody that's got any form of a business, big or small, should upgrade their email. You open your email and it's black and white. Nobody remembers it. Nobody has any recollection. So we're on the forefront of a technology that can go global instantly with a comp plan that can pay serious residual income. My biggest income source is this one I'm doing right now. And they haven't even launched yet. And so right now I'm positioning people that are dead serious about building a global income and doing it in a relatively quick amount of time now is the time to get involved in this thing and just watch it grow. You know what's interesting? They haven't even launched a new website. That launches in April. So right now we're getting involved with like paper applications until they actually launch their website. You can do real applications. So, Garda, you know about that. When a company's in that early enough stage that it's just paper applications, that is a magic time. And so incredible.
And they say, and you comment that they're going to pay in 1 minute, right? Something like that.
Yes. Well, so here's the thing that I'm doing right now. I'm really spending my time reaching out to my global leadership and to strong leaders that really have an understanding of this, because what I'm finding is that people understand it when they really sit down and look at the dynamics. It's so easy to grow this business. Look, here's one of the ideas. Just go to your inbox. Everybody that sends you an email, just respond using a video email with their templates. And as soon as they open up, they're like, I've never seen anything like that in my life. How did you get that? And it's easy to share. And so I really think it's a powerful platform, most powerful one I've ever seen. So it's pretty exciting.
Ken, for all those people that are watching our show, where can they follow you? On Facebook, Instagram? And we're going to put it right here. We're going to put your social media right here so people can, whoever wants to follow you, contact you, they can go to.
Well, you can find me on Facebook. You'll find me. I'm easy to find. There's not that many of us. You can look up Ken Porter. You can message me. But I'm really excited to look, I don't care. New people. People have been around the block. If they've been in network marketing a long time, not had a big success, or if they've been in it and had a big success, now is a perfect time to reach out.
So, Ken, would you say that at the beginning you said you were knocking doors, right? Selling.
Yeah.
Would you say that credit a lot loosen that fear that you were talking about? I mean, knocking doors is not easy. Okay. I was listening to you and I said to myself, man, I don't see myself knocking doors because, that fear, who's going to open the door?
Yeah, this is a lot easier than that because really this is simple. You can, I do Zooms. I'm doing Zooms every day, right? So I just do a Zoom. I share the product and say, hey, get on another Zoom. And so everybody on that Zoom brings their friends. Pretty soon your Zoom starts from 3 people and 6 people, and then there are 26 people, and then 76 people. And so it's, so much of that I can do the work and help. Seriously, anybody that just wants to hey, I'll just bring my friends and I'll put them on your Zoom, right? It's an easy business to do. And I should say it's easy. I should say it's simple. It's not hard. It's not complicated. It's just a matter of getting up in the morning and saying, who do I share this with today? That's all it is.
Yeah. So let me ask you a few questions. Number one, what's the book that you would recommend? I know you read a lot of books, but give me one book that you said, this is a must-read book.
So I would say a couple things on this. First of all, you got to take this business serious, and I think that's the thing. A lot of people don't take the business serious. Work it every single day. Make sure you're joining the right company. I got to tell you, most people don't have enough training, and over 30 years, there's not that many companies I would join. Because you've learned. And the challenge you have with new people or early people in their businesses, they don't even know what to look for, right? So they join companies that maybe they're going to have a tough time really growing a successful team. But you join the right company with the right comp plan, man, there's a lot of money to be had in that. There's a lot of money to be had in that. And I would just I would say just look at it. Understand the power behind it, commit to it, and then just go to work.
Okay. Anything else that you want to say before I ask for the last question, Ken?
No, I would ask the last question. The one thing I would say about this at this point in my career, I hope people Edgardo, you know me for a long time. And, you know, when I was young, after my father passed away, I always wished he was still around to get advice from, because he learned a lot in his 80 some odd years, right? And when I was young, I didn't really know that I should just ask my dad, because he knew. So what I did is I had to learn a lot of the things all by myself, by trial and error. And so what I tell people is, look, find somebody who's already done it. Find somebody who's had a lot of success, and then listen and learn. And I will tell you, I will save you years and years and years of chasing the wrong vehicles or doing things the incorrect way, and take it so that your first experience can be a successful experience.
Ken, do you want to leave a legacy? How do you want to be remembered?
I want to be remembered as somebody who loved people. So, someone who maybe I started this business to help myself, but I finished this business to help others. And so, you know, I think the only legacy you really have is your relationships with other people, and the good that you've done in the world, right? And so, you know, I think at a certain point, chasing money is look, when you need it and you don't have it and you're trying to support your family, there's nothing more noble than trying to take care of your family, and money's an important element of that, right? But at some point, you've got enough. And at some point, you really have to find in your heart to say, look, I've got to do things that's going to help humanity. Service is the only thing that really makes you happy long term. It's the only joy producing thing that you can do, is to help your fellow man. And so sometimes you do that by, you know, helping the homeless, or you do that by, you know, mowing your neighbor's yard or whatever. But the way I do it is through business and helping people succeed in business. And so that's my offering, and that's my service. And I want to be seen as someone that's really trying to help other people.
Wow. So it's been an honor to have you on our show, Ken. And you know what? Not many people in direct sales and network marketing have been successful once, twice, the third time. And I know whatever you do, you take it to the top. Okay. And you're that kind of person that, you know what, you have the love for people, to help people, and that's why you know, whatever you do, it's a blessing. So thank you for being here in our show, and remember to subscribe. And wow, what a story, Ken. Thank you for being here. And don't forget to subscribe, because this channel is growing every single day. Ken, thank you, my friend. Bye-bye.
Bye.